Here is something that sounds wrong until you understand how this business actually works. A $3 per mile load is not always better than a $2 per mile load. A long haul that takes 2 days and pays $3 a mile can net you less money than a regional load delivering in 6 hours at $2 a mile. Most new operators in this business spend their first year chasing the wrong number, and it costs them tens of thousands of dollars before they figure out why. The business is hotshot trucking, a $7.98 billion industry in 2026, built on one simple premise. When a construction site runs out of a critical part, when an oil rig needs equipment today, when a manufacturer has an urgent shipment that a full semi would take days to organize, they call a hotshot operator. You show up with a heavy-duty pickup truck in a purpose-built trailer. You move the freight fast, and you get paid at a premium for the speed. This is not traditional trucking. You are not hauling consumer goods across the country on a 4-day run. You are solving urgent problems for industries that lose thousands of dollars per hour when equipment sits idle. That urgency is what drives your rates, and understanding it is what separates operators who earn $80,000 a year from those who clear $200,000 on the same equipment. Let us start with the honest cost picture, because this business has a wide range, and most guides either undersell or oversell it. If you already own a capable heavy-duty diesel pickup truck, a Ram 3500, Ford F350, or Chevy Silverado 3500, your startup cost drops dramatically. The truck is your biggest expense, and used models in good condition currently run $30,000 to $70,000, depending on year, mileage, and configuration. Add a used gooseneck or flatbed trailer, typically $8,000 to $20,000 for a quality used unit, and you already have the core of your operation. Your US DOT number and Motor Carrier Authority registration through the FMCSA costs $300 and takes roughly 3 to 4 weeks to process. An international registration plan apportioned plate runs $200 to $600, depending on your base state, and then the number that catches almost every new operator off guard: insurance. As a new authority with no loss history, you are considered an unknown risk. Commercial auto plus cargo coverage for a new hotshot operator currently runs $7,000 to $30,000 in your first year. This range is wide because it depends heavily on your driving record, operating radius, the freight types you carry, and your garaging location. After year 1 with a clean record, premiums typically drop 20 to 40% at renewal. Factor in operating reserves for fuel and maintenance, and your realistic all-in startup investment lands between $15,000 if you already own a suitable heavy-duty diesel pickup and the trailer only, up to $100,000 if you are buying everything new. Most operators starting from scratch land between $40,000 and $70,000 total. Now the income picture, and this is where the number that matters most is not the one most people look for first. Hotshot rates in 2026 average $1.80 to $2.50 per mile across standard loads. Oversized and specialized freight pays $2.50 to $4. Expedited oil field and same-day critical freight can reach $4.50 to $5 per mile. But rate per mile is a misleading metric on its own. The number that actually determines your income is revenue per day. A 2-day, 600-mile run at $3 grosses $1,800. A single-day, 300-mile regional load at $2 grosses $600. But you complete it in 6 hours, reposition for a backhaul, and potentially run a second load that same day for another $600. 2 loads in the same time frame as that long haul earns you $1,200 instead of $1,800. But here's what changes. Your fuel cost, your wear and maintenance per day, and your total miles driven are all lower. Net profit on the 2 regional loads often beats the single long haul when you run the full cost per mile math. Operators who understand this shift from chasing long haul miles to building efficient regional lanes, and their annual income reflects it. Realistic annual income for a solo hotshot operator running consistently is $80,000 to $200,000 gross, with net income after fuel, insurance, maintenance, and permits landing between $30,000 and $120,000. The spread is wide because deadhead miles, empty miles driven without a load, is the single biggest profitability variable in this business. An operator running 10% deadhead earns dramatically more than one running 40% deadhead on the same gross revenue. Building backhaul relationships in your primary lanes so you are rarely returning empty is the operational discipline that separates the top earners from the average ones. Load boards are your starting point for freight. DAT load board, truck stop, and 123 load board are the three primary platforms. You pay a monthly subscription of around $50 to $200, and in return, you get access to freight posted by brokers across the country. New operators without a rate history start here because broker-posted loads typically pay the lower end of the rate range, $150 to $250 per mile, because the broker takes a margin between you and the shipper. Direct shipper relationships, where you work directly with a construction company, oil and gas operator, or manufacturer without a broker in the middle, pay significantly higher and are the long-term goal. Building one or two of those relationships in your first 6 months changes your income trajectory faster than any single action you can take. The CDL question is one most guides handle vaguely, so here's the specific answer. You can legally haul loads under 10,000 pounds with a standard driver's license. Once your truck and trailer's combined gross vehicle weight rating exceeds 26,001 pounds, which happens quickly when you're pulling a loaded gooseneck or flatbed, you need a Class A CDL. Most serious hotshot operators get the A CDL from the start because it removes the weight ceiling, opens access to heavier and higher-paying loads, and positions you to step into larger equipment later if you choose to scale. The CDL training and testing costs between $3,000 and $10,000 depending on your state and whether you use a training school or test independently. Now the specific failure modes that end hotshot businesses in the first year. Underestimating fuel cost. Diesel consumption in a loaded heavy-duty pickup towing a full trailer runs 8 to 12 miles per gallon. At current diesel prices, fuel is the largest operating expense on most loads. New operators who price loads without calculating their exact cost per mile, which must include fuel, maintenance reserves, insurance prorated per mile, and permit costs, routinely accept loads that generate almost no profit or actively lose money. Calculate your cost per mile before accepting any load. If the offered rate doesn't clear your cost per mile by at least 20%, the load is not worth taking at that price. Neglecting maintenance reserves. Hotshot trucks and trailers operate under heavy stress loads consistently. Budget a minimum of 15 cents per mile in a dedicated maintenance reserve account. Operators who spend every dollar they earn discover that a single blown trailer tire, a brake job, or an engine repair can wipe out 3 to 4 weeks of net income with no buffer to cover it. Running deadhead without a plan. Driving 400 miles empty to pick up a load that pays $2 a mile for 300 miles is a net loss after fuel. Every load decision should account for the empty miles required to reach it. Load boards let you filter by pickup location. Use that filter aggressively to keep deadhead under 15% of your total miles. The scaling path from one truck is straightforward in concept and challenging in execution. You add a second truck and driver once you have established consistent lanes, a working relationship with at least 2 direct shippers, and enough cash reserves to cover the insurance hit of a second new authority. 2-truck hotshot operations running efficient regional lanes generate combined gross revenues of $300,000 to $500,000 annually. The owner steps progressively into dispatch, relationships, and route optimization, rather than hauling every load personally. A $7.98 billion freight market, a pickup truck in a trailer, and the operational discipline to track revenue per day instead of rate per mile. If this kind of breakdown is useful, subscribe to the channel. Every video, one real business, the actual numbers, and an honest picture of what it takes to build it from the ground up.